all for it because everything I've bought that's either AC Delco, I bought a lot of factory GM stuff for my wife's car,
They
uh,
lasted.
and for my cars too. It's either Canada or it's Canada or Mexico.
Yeah.
That's where the stuff is from. So, like he said, there's warehouses, there's factories that are empty, warehousing space. They said, hey, if these people bring it back, put a little money into the infrastructure, warehouse it, sell it here, you know, no tariff, obviously, because it's in the
Yeah.
country. Which
Well,
means
that was like I was telling you, Ray. I think on your show, or we were if we got that far ahead, you know, Audi, Audi of America, really Volkswagen of America, said that they're moving their plant here from Mexico to here because they,
right, right.
it's just not to get all political, but it's just everybody says they want change. They just don't want to give up something for that change. You can't have it all.
And everybody's going batshit crazy, with this tariff thing, and saying, it's an incentive, is what it is. And I know, it becomes talking points and arguing points. And I know right now, it's always what doesn't get said and what's done behind closed doors that really matters. And we don't always find that out. Case in point, Governor of New York here, she put in this congestion pricing in the city, and everybody's up. People don't want it. They made $100 million already.
Wow.
And they're proud of it.
Yeah, well,
the scary part.
As they should be, right? But my question is, they're bailing out the MTA, who mismanaged their funds. So, not to get political about it, but how far in the hole are they? I mean, $100 million in a month. That sounds like I can solve a lot of problems. It's going to be like the toll for the Verrazano Bridge. Oh yeah, as soon as we make the money back for the bridge, the toll will go away. Yeah, that was a quarter. Now it's $16. How many years later?
Well, only 9.
Unfortunately, it comes down to greed.
Well, right.
I mean, these guys. I mean, that's the problem with everything. And
what I
we
found
just
out
get over that, but nobody can.
You read between the lines of when I read the New York Post, and the governor she's been to Washington a few times. Her and Trump are going head to head. He's not giving in. She's not giving in. She's adamant that she's not going to move an inch. And one of the lines I read was, he told her he'll put a stay on a lot of this stuff. There'll be a referendum. He'll give her time, but things have to change. Things have to go the other way. And you never hear, she'll never talk about that. She'll never say, well, he's willing to work with me if to make a deal. She won't say that. She'll just say, no, I'm not going to give him what he wants. Meanwhile, and I know he's done this because I've read it and I've seen it on TV too, on some of the shows I watch, that even with the tariffs, he was in touch with China. He was in touch with Canada and Mexico. And they immediately, spouted their rhetoric and, got it out of their system. And then he told them, well, listen, we can get around this. If you do this, then I will do this, or I'll do this, if you'll do this. He's willing to make, trade concessions right off the bat if they are. If they're not, then it's like, okay, 25% tariff. Screw you. Canada's taken all the USA wines and off the shelves already. And
that's already paid for.
Yeah, good. Let's see. Lose the revenue. Go on. That'll be fine. That's what you want to do. You want to spite, cut your nose off to spite your face. Fine.
Well, as long as they stick to vines, I'm safe.
Yeah, exactly. But so a lot of that stuff, I've never heard it talked about. You catch wind of it, and a guy like him it's business first, and it's going to be business. He does what he says. It's America first. And they vilify that like it's a bad thing. I mean, they did that since, forever with him. I mean, see, Brian, now you're getting me off on a political rant. But I always said it when the term MAGA came out, right? Make America great again. And Biden used to say, yo, that MAGA, and uses a derogatory term. I used to yell at the TV. I said, Joe, just say the words that the letters stand for in the same sentence. And then let's see what people think. Because what he's saying is, make America great again is bad. It's no good. It's a terrible idea. Just say that, But no, you had to, they want to use that word, and I'm sure there's a lot of people don't even know what MAGA stands for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they don't care to even even learn that much. So yeah.
I think MAGA stands for Mexicans always get across.
Well, in Biden land it did. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. Very good, Pops.
Lewis, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get on that side, but
Thanks,
I
Brian.
did want to know. No, I know, but it's just, dude, it's so funny. The funniest part of all this is that, I see, 200 people a day? I see a handful of people. And I just love when you walk into that guy that all he could do was talk about Trump, about how great, and we're going to vote him in. And now he's bitching. And I said, we all voted for him, dude. And I said, what? I said, last week you had all his shit up on the wall.
Yeah.
And now you don't. So that's just like the Tesla drivers all driving around with Honda stickers on their car now.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know. But beside the point, and I didn't mean to get sidetracked, we're here to talk about automotive. Man, my car has lost 50 pounds of metal in this motherfucker. I keep cutting it now. I got to stop cutting.
Oh, Jesus, now you're going too far. You're going too far the other way now.
Yeah, I can't stop it. I couldn't stop taking parts off of it. Now I'm keep cutting shit, man. I've gone through. Well, I sent Ray. I couldn't find any USA cutoff wheels, and I've blown up about 9 Harbor Freight ones. And let you all know, I still have all 10 fingers.
Brian, I had to cut a piece of angle iron today. I'm making a mount in my car for that relay center. And I grabbed my whiz wheel, and I have the Harbor Freight 3-inch cutoff wheels. I have not stopped this right now. I have not broken one of them yet.
Uh-huh.
I like to think that I'm always very careful when I use the tool. I always pay attention to the pitch, and I back off when I have to back off. But as I was using it today, that's the only thing I could think about.
It was funny because I've cut, like I said, when I ran out and I ordered some and they finally came in, took me a week to get some good cutoff wheels, the 3-inch, 3.5 inch or 4.5 inch.
The bigger ones, yeah.
Yeah. So going along the line, they finally came in. They're sitting out on the driveway. I got to bring shit in. But I was like, man, I'm not stopping because I'm doing it. So all I had were some small 3-inch stuff. And that's what I've been using. And I can't believe the 3-inch wheel has lasted size and length or, product versus the cheaper stuff of just being sawdust after, 10 minutes of cutting and having sawdust.
So what are you cutting? What part of the car are you cutting?
Cutting the wheel wells out. I got the frame marked up. I had shared the picture with Ray. I'll put it on our group picture. When I had a rear sway bar on the car, I had a 1 inch on the front and 3/4 in the rear or whatever. But I had pulled the sway bar link or the holder through the frame when I was taking everything apart. I pulled the one side of the sway bar apart through the frame. So now I got a frame rail to replace. I got to put in since I'm doing it. And like I said, I just keep cutting. She's going to lose another 50 pounds somewhere along the line. I don't know. I'm just keep cutting.
Well, leave enough weight that your car will stay on the road. If you cut off too much weight, you'll just float away,
Well, I'm hoping because even I start eating rice and beans, so maybe I can float away too. I mean, it's gonna be a spaceship after I get done with it. So, but I wanted to know what happened. Did Lewis run out of gas?
He disappeared.
He ran out of fuel again.
Oh yeah. On the road, yeah. He ran out of fuel, had to get towed. It took him 5 hours to get help. And then he found out when the guy put a scanner in the truck, he found out that his fuel gauge is a quarter of a tank biased, to the full side. So he thought he had a quarter of a tank and he was empty.
Wow. Okay.
So,
There's a little
That's
pump
when
thing
you-
on the engine on the
and
what is
then
it,
yeah, it got
injectors?
airlocked. I guess it got airlocked.
He
in
said
there.
it didn't work.
Yep, that thing
Oh,
doesn't
it's
work.
a pain in the balls. I ran out of gas one time, and that little pump thing, my two little fingers was had a hell of a fucking workout after that.
So that's just a manual pump to what is it?
Yeah,
pump
actually,
oil?
I think you unscrew and it comes up, and it's like a radiator pressure tester pump thing.
Yeah, he said it was like a bicycle pump. Yeah.
And you pump up. That's why. Well, later on, of course, I knew this even then, but I didn't have any. That's like if you take the fuel filter off and fill it with transmission fluid.
Uh-huh.
Because transmission fluid is lighter than diesel, so it flows faster,
Right.
and it has a different flash point, so it will light up easier, and it flows so that because some guys will burn up a starter because they're going, I want to crank the air out of it. Dude, you ain't going to crank the air out of it. You'll burn up a starter or take out a flywheel.
Right.
I didn't know about transmission fluid.
Yeah, I carry 2.5 gallon jugs of transmission fluid in the tool truck in case I run out of fuel someplace. That way I have it.
You have
because and that way you can run on it. You know, like I said, you can run on it. And it has a different flash point though. I mean, it'll smoke a little, but it's actually, it really depends on how new the vehicle is. Super new, you got to be careful. But on the older, that's what we used to use to clean the injectors out with the pump. We would use transmission fluid and pump it. We had
person detected.
We had like a handheld pump thing. You hook up with the injectors, and you had you poured your fluid in it. A lot of times they would use what is that?
Kerosene.
Kerosene. Well, the not paint thinner.
Naphtha, you thinking of?
Not acetylene. Acetone.
Not acetone. The one under that.
Tulene, xylene.
It's one of those like
time.
you know, one of I'll have to go over here and look at
Brut by Fabergé.
Yeah, but we used to use that, or you could use transmission, because transmission fluid has tons and tons of cleaning agencies.
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Yeah, when I used to work at the gas station, guys would come with diesel, like throw this transmission fluid. I'm like, I'm not doing that. So we would have them.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You want to put a transmission fluid in there? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I've ran out of gas before, and like I said, I just actually, to be honest, I stopped off at the Chinese place and bought 2 gallons of fucking cooking oil and put in there. It was a pain in the ass to start because the flash point is really, really high on that.
Yeah.
But I put that, and then I had some transmission fluid, and I got home. Smelled like a French fry, big old baked potato going.
Yeah. That's good.
It'll work.
That's why we used to call a friend of ours the Frying Dutchman, because he used. Hey, it's what it smelled like. It smelled like you were frying.
Honestly, and that's, I joke kind of about it, but if it's of course, this is like, other than my tool truck, this is really the first time that I've never had a diesel car. I've always had a diesel car forever, and I would say if it's coming to the end of the world, I would want a diesel vehicle. Because you can burn, like I said,
anything,
almost anything and everything. And if it got really desperate, if you got really to the point of if you found roadkill and took the fat off of an animal and melted it, it will run.
Yep.
It will run. And one of the survival things was the guy took a coffee can, cut out the center, and put it on. He had a a 3-cycled diesel that was for construction, and it was for a generator. And he needed, and actually took a coffee can, cut a hole around it, put it around the exhaust, the muffler, the pipe on it. And he was down to his last bit, got the generator running so it produced heat, and then he was using animal fat to melt and then run in, and then he was burning it. It will burn. It may not sound good, but it will run.
Right.
Well, I know they used to tell you with these little Volkswagen diesels to carry yourself a bottle of vegetable oil, and this way, if you're starting to run out, you pour it in there. Yeah, it's gonna maybe make more noise or smell, but it'll get you home.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
that's we had a '79 diesel Rabbit, 43 raw horsepower. That's what all of us learned to drive on. And you look good with the rabbit ears. Get a new single in, but they, like I said, that burnt when that was on its last leg. We burnt everything and anything through there, and it ran.
I guess it was around 2008 or 9. Chris worked with a guy who converted a Mercedes diesel to run on used oil, fryer oil. And it was like, one of the first guys that I had heard of that did it. We were hearing about it, but he came in, brought the car in, did the show with us, and afterwards we went out and looked. And in the trunk, he had a separate fuel tank for the oil, and he had this. He rigged up like a stand off the trunk lid that would hold this bag that was kind of like the filter. It was almost like a burlap kind of a bag, and he would pour the oil. So he'd go to like Chinese restaurants and Mexican restaurants. He said the Chinese places were the best. It was the cleanest. And at the time, they had to pay to get rid of their oil, so they would give it to him. And he would pour through that bag that would filter out the particulate. And then I think he said he would start the car. He started it on diesel, and he had a switch. He would switch it over to the oil.
Yeah, they wanted to get to operating temperature. I mean, it was a certain temperature.
So he put a second gauge in, for the oil. And I said, man, the only thing, what you got to do, I said, because I do this. I love taking things apart, and like I'll put my name on the gauge face and put the gauge, but whatever. So I said, you got to take that gauge apart and like just put a picture of a chicken on it. And then put it back together, because that's your chicken, that's your oil, or you got to put a Chinese food container or something, whatever. He's like, oh, that's a great idea. I don't think he ever did.
I looked into doing that when I had my semis, but I was so nervous about messing up a motor, man. So I never did it, but I started researching it. I was going to do it.
Yeah.
Disney did it with their ferries for a while. We went there. I'm like, oh, it smells like French fries coming out the back. Yeah. And I asked the guy. He goes, oh yeah, it's right on fry oil. They had a big thing. Yeah, look, we're environmental friendly. We're burning the fry oil. Blah blah blah. Recycling it. And then last time we went, probably maybe 2 years ago, no more fry oil. They're just using diesel.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
it
ran out.
Well, like I said, on the newer stuff, you have to be careful. Because the clearances and the tolerances and pressure, there's a lot of different things. If you, like I said, anything old, you can't pass up, man. You find one of these old construction site generators. I mean, a generator that's a 3-cylinder diesel, or one of those flashy light things that is 3-cylinder diesel. Dude, you could literally piss in that son of a bitch, and it'll run. Those things just don't stop.
They started selling biodiesel at some truck stops for a little bit. I don't think they do it anymore, do they?
Yeah, they still do.
Oh, do they?
I know the last oil contract we had here at the house, they told us they were going to sell us a certain percentage of biodiesel, and it dropped the price down. So yeah, we took it. They said, okay, it's fine.
That'll clean your truck out too, to clean your motor out.
Yeah.
It'll blow a little black smoke for a little bit, but it'll clean your engine out.
Yeah. So, but like I said, if you're you know, you don't want to carry diesel or kerosene around. Like I said, couple. I have 2.5 gallons of ATF, and I just carry it just in case I run out. That way, I can put it in, and it'll get me home, or get me to the gas station.
I'm just thinking.
The only other problem that you have, I don't mean to cut you off, but I got to say this before I forget. The biggest problem with that is, what color is ATF?
Red.
Usually
Red.
Which is
And
what
what
color?
color? And what color is
Busted.
home heating oil?
Red.
Red. Or
Is it
tractor or farm use is red.
Yeah,
So
red.
if the DOT guy gets you, and he
They
looks
got
in
you.
your sight glass, and you have red fuel, you're done, because he's going to nail you for not paying road tax. And it's hard to explain that you were running out, unless but it's just the gamble you have to take. Because I mean, I understand, Lewis. 5 hours sitting on the side of the road is not a fun place, especially when people doing Mach 1 by you.
Yeah,
I'm sure
crazy.
that the bus was a rocking, and it wasn't the way you wanted it to be rocking.
You're right.
There was some guys in the GMC club. I mean, it's a smaller RV, right? And that's not a bus size. But they were saying when you break down and if you're flat towing somebody, a vehicle, get in the car in the back and just push your car. I don't know if the Jeep could do the bus, but you could get in the Jeep and maybe push the bus, have your wife steer it just to get off the road.
Yeah.
But I mean, then you have how strong is the points on all of the flat tow stuff.
Right.
Yeah, but on the GMC it's 10,000 pounds. I don't know how much does the bus weigh? More than that, right?
22 maybe. 28.
Yeah.
That's when you guys get a workout and you sleep real good that night. I've tried to push the tool truck. I know I had to look stupid as hell trying to push that tow truck. I mean, the tool truck.
Yeah, so like you said, Brian, it is a lot of benefits to having a diesel.
Yeah.
Your bus weighs as much as our box truck does when we've got it loaded.
Yeah.
Which is 28,000 pounds. Of course, I've only got a 20-foot box on here, too. Which my darling daughter is going to get shortly.
30-foot box.
Is it 30?
The whole truck is like
26 foot is 12,000 pounds. 12,500. Oh, whatever. That was wrong. It's off by 2,000. 2,500.
So Keith, I was gonna head down your way, but
and I'm waiting. Where are you?
I got a call. I had to come back home.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. So that was my next stop is down your way.
Yeah.
So we had to come back home a little bit early, but when we head back down there, I will stop through.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
When are you gonna go up and visit Jim in New York?
Actually, we'll be going over there in September.
You're going
you're not going on Long Island though. Yeah, he's going upstate.
Going
Yeah, going on Long Island.
Yeah, upstate.
How far up?
Drive through the city.
What town?
I don't know. It starts with a B. Hold on.
That narrows it down.
Yeah.
Upstate New York. It's Canada, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking for it, and I know I'm not going to find it because I'm looking for it.
Of course.
Well, see, I'm not going to ever be out in you guys' direction with this thing because
No,
too far. And besides that, my wife has decided that we're going to give the business to my daughter and her husband and let them play with the general public. And I'll just periodically go bail my daughter out of jail.
Bainbridge? Is that it, Lewis?
Bainbridge.
Bainbridge, New York.
Hell,
Oh, you found it? Yeah, Bainbridge.
Yep, never heard of it.
Keith?
It's in the, I don't know, New York somewhere.
Keith's the official Planet Traffic looker-upper.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. You want to know what it is? It's September 19th to the 28th. All right. So where is Bainbridge? I don't even know where that is.
I think it's just it's around Syracuse.
Okay. Well, we got a guy up there. Another guy used to be a Long Islander, and now he calls the show. He's from up that way. 'Cause he just told me Sunday we were talking about potato pizzas, and he said, "Hey, if you come up my way, if you go to the Syracuse Nationals again, if you just stop by, I'll make you a potato pizza." So I don't have any plans of going this year, but he says, "Or next time I come down, I'll come and make them." I'm like, "Okay, that sounds like a plan." So I got a contact up there. This guy,
Pizza shop.
Clinton. He's in Clinton, New York. Yeah. So
There's a China, New York.
What's that?
Sorry, there's a China, New York. Did you
Yeah,
know
there's
that?
a China, New York. Yes. There's
a little bit of China everywhere.
There's a Russia too, I believe.
Right.
Hey, in this country, we got them all.
Yeah.
We do, you know.
I did a quick look. Bainbridge is a little bit closer to Binghamton than it is Syracuse.
Oh wow. Okay, so that's a lot closer to here.
Yeah.
Binghamton isn't that far. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's Binghamton. Yeah.
So Papa Squirrel, if you guys could email me or text me a show list that you guys are going to or your daughter's going to out west.
Okay.
Kind of like to maybe try to schedule it.
We'll do that because she's going to be going to, oh Christ, the brain just shut down. How come every time you want to tell somebody something, the brain says, no way?
So I went to Daytona Speedway to see Ed. He was doing some painting there. Man, that dude is incredible.
Yeah.
Somebody was looking at my Rap Fink sticker on the side of my van going, who the hell is that from? I said, come on now. Don't you all know about Rap Fink?
Sure.
Oh, Ed Roth.
I'm upset with you, Coach. You didn't get on the show last week.
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I got on. I got
Dan.
on,
He was busy.
on the after show. I was. Well, I'm still working on it, but my wife. We had the week off for spring break. She took the week off to spend time with me, and she wanted to paint the bathroom in the hallway. And I said, well, since we're going to do that, let's go ahead and change that window, upgrade that window. And when I started working to free up the window, as I pulled some bath towels, because our shower is up against that window. It's the main shower for the house. I started finding mold, and then I started pulling back more and more. And then as soon as she said, hey, we're going to probably have to retile it with brand new tile, then I went into demolition mode and just started ripping it all out. So
we were down in your part of the country for a show, and that's the only show we've ever been kicked out of. Actually,
really?
It was everybody.
Was that the one where they got sick?
Yes.
Yeah, I heard about that on the news.
You heard about it on the news? Hang on a second. Here?
What happened there, Isaac? What happened to the show?
It was never confirmed it was a norovirus.
Yeah,
I think they just wanted to get rid of us.
Yeah, a bunch of people got sick. And then of course on the internet it blew up, all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
And it was an attack and all this other stuff. We went to the air show, I think it was the same day. And we got home and I heard about it. And then the most recent, they said that listeria or whatever virus your wife said, the one that they have on the cruises or whatever, I guess. But like your wife said, it was never confirmed. So they think possibly food poisoning or whatnot. But yeah, there was a whole show and they shut it down.
Yeah, I had to go back to the ARV because I wasn't feeling good, and found out later it was a possible gas leak.
Okay.
And because I'm back there and I hear noises, and the wife and daughter show up in the door, and it's only 4 o'clock, and the show's supposed to go to 6 o'clock,
Yeah.
and the next day. So we lost a bunch of money
Yeah.
because of that.
Well, and I was listening on the way home. I heard you were talking about it's pretty hot. Are you still in Arizona?
Yeah, but we're up in Phoenix, the
Yeah.
Ren Fair, last weekend of the Ren Fair.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it has been hot. And Phoenix is usually hotter than Tucson, but I think it was Tuesday when we had baseball practice. It was like 96 degrees already.
Wow.
It's just too dang hot.
Yeah,
Man,
what were you guys doing with such temperature around it? This is a desert. It's supposed to be cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, this time of year we've hardly gotten any rain throughout this year. Like, I mean, coming down to the gem show during February, we usually get a storm or two right at the beginning of February and towards the end. We haven't gotten hardly anything.
Mm-mm. They had one rain here during the 8 weeks we've been here.
Yep.
And it lasted for about 5 hours, and then that's it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's just been unseasonably warm, and it's been very dry.
Boy, that's the truth.
And even today it was warm. I don't know what it got up to, but the other day when it was 96, that's usually the end of baseball season. We're ending baseball season in May, and that's usually we get a day or two like that in May, and early mid-May, and then it's the end of May when we start really seeing heat. End of May, beginning of June. But yeah, it's been hot. It's uncomfortable. I hate it. Hey,
if you don't like it now, just wait till July.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, and that's the thing. I mean, this is. I grew up here. It's home. I love it here. But when it comes to that heat, man, that's the one thing I hate. And actually, I've mentioned, going up and checking out Seattle, not to live, not to move, but going and checking it out, the rainy weather. And everybody says, "Oh, you'll be depressed." And I'm like, if you grow up in the desert, you don't get depressed with the rain. We're probably the only people in the country that when it rains, we stop what we're doing and run outside to look at it. I'm dead serious. I think it was either in December or it was January. We had a little rainstorm come through, and we're sitting here in the house. And my daughter goes, "Hey, is it raining? I think it's raining." And we all run outside to go look at the rain. It was just sprinkling. So,
well, yeah, because you need water.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's that water's bringing life, but
yes.
Yeah, it's we need the water, but then it's just always so sunny. In the sun down here, just I've been to other states, but I know when I went to my son's graduation from basic training, it was in South Carolina. We flew into Atlanta, and it was humid, it was hot, it was in the 90s, but to me it was like a break from the heat, and it was sunny. I mean, there wasn't much cloudiness when we were there, and I don't know. To me, the sun here feels like it just beats down on you. It just beats the hell out of you. When I've been in other states during the summer, it's hot. It has its own version of being uncomfortable, but the sun is just not. If you got bare skin, the sun doesn't necessarily feel like it's beating you up anywhere else I've been, but here it just beats the hell out of you.
Yeah, I look a little strange sometimes here in Arizona when I've got some light long sleeve shirts, because it keeps your arms from hurting.
Yeah.
Because mine hurt because of the sunlight. So
Yeah, I do the same thing. I mean, I'll go back and forth where I'll have my arms exposed, but a lot of times I wear like a thin long sleeve, keep the sun from beating down on me.
That's funny because here in New York we literally get everything.
Yeah.
We get hot, we get cold, we get rain, we get snow, we get tornadoes, we get hurricanes.
We had a freeze warning last night.
Wow.
Yeah, so did we.
So
Yeah,
of course, I don't want to get too sidetracked again. So everybody was all concerned because we're in stage 3 of the cherry blossoms. Oh my God. I didn't really say that. I'm on the team. Don't worry, but please.
Team Cherry Blossom.
Hey, Coach, how far are you from Tombstone?
From where? Tombstone?
Yeah.
It's, I want to say it's about maybe an hour and a half. It's, I don't think it's even 100 miles, but it might be. It's southeast of us. It's been a little while since I've been there, but it's really not that far.
I got a friend that's gonna let me stay on his property if we head out there in the bus.
Yeah,
he's not too far from Tombstone.
Yeah. There's some open area in Tombstone. I want to say it's been such a long time since I've been there, but I want to say it's a little bit higher than us. It's probably equal to Sierra Vista, and Sierra Vista is a little bit higher than us. So when we're hitting 105, I want to say they're in the high 90s, maybe touching about 100 degrees.
So it's
during the middle of the summer.
You said it's southeast of you?
Yeah, correct. Okay. It's going towards New Mexico and towards the border, going south towards Mexico. It is nice there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see some. I sent you a video, a reel, and it was the church from the movie Tombstone. That's in that place, Old Tucson here, that I was telling you about. And then there was another video I found, I sent, and it shows they're talking about, it's the bar where they're playing pool in the movie Tombstone, and he gets shot in the back, like from somebody shoots him from outside, like that.
Yeah.
That's still here in the Tucson area. That's out headed east. It's a little small movie set town called Mescal. And it's attached in part of Old Tucson, but it's on the opposite side of the city. But they have tours there.
Yeah, I can't wait to hit all that stuff.
In fact, have you seen the movie The Quick and the Dead with Gene Hackman, Sharon Stone? I can't remember the other guy, the other main character.
I'm not sure.
The movie setup is an old Western, but the movie setup is this guy runs the town, which is Gene Hackman, and he holds a gunfighting challenge. And the last, when you end in the challenge, the idea is you're facing the Gene Hackman because he's the fastest gun, and he kind of rules this town with an iron fist type of thing. And but that was the majority of that was filmed at that Mescal set.
All right.
I'll have to watch that one again. I haven't seen that one in a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen it or not. I have to. What's the name of it?
The Quick and the Dead. Now there's two of them. There's one with there's a Louis L'Amour Quick and the Dead, and that's with oh man. I can see his face. Sam Elliott. That one's Louis L'Amour's Quick and the Dead. That's with Sam Elliott. That's not the same one. And it's not the same basis. It's completely different. But the one that I'm talking about, it was made, I want to say, late 90s. In fact, I think it's Leonardo DiCaprio is in it. He's real young. But Sharon Stone, Gene Hackman, and I don't think it's Gerard Butler. can't remember the other guy's name.
All right,
Keith, you looking it up?
I just sent it to my secretary so she can put it in our watch list.
Yeah, it's actually not that bad of a movie. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I love cowboy movies. Man, I can't wait to get out there and see that stuff.
Well, if you get a chance, go to Old Tucson Studios. They're outrageous now because COVID caused a lot of problems, and the guy that was leasing it, the city of Tucson, said, "We're not going to give you a break. You've got to pay us, but you can't be running people through." So he basically said, "Screw you," and left. Well, another business is taking it over, and they've raised the price to $20 a piece to come in.
Really?
And yeah, it used to be. What did Old Tucson Studios used to cost? It wasn't bad.
Yeah, they did live cowboy shows, live shootout shows.
Yeah, they don't do those anymore. You used to be able to watch them because they did them in the street and everything in front of everybody. And we were doing that was where we did our Ren Fair at. It was damn it, Wild West Con. There we go.
Ooh, they got a Wild West Con?
Yeah.
Oh man, I had to check that out.
Oh, it was fun. Let me tell you, and especially it was good when it was Old Tucson Studios because you would have the actors that worked there coming through. The people that did the gunfights and that.
Yeah.
I love watching a guy do the tumble off the church tower.
Off the roof, yeah. Off the roof and all that, yeah.
Yeah.
Those were awesome because, like Papa Squirrel was saying, there'd be like they had it at certain times of the day, and there would be they'd start clearing the street. I don't remember they do a call or whatever, but you go down there and they clear the street, and they do this whole thing. I mean, they're mic'd up, so they have speakers around. You can hear them. They'll shoot people off the roof. They, 10 paces, and they draw down on each other, the whole thing. And it was cool. It was really cool.
Yeah.
So we don't know what it looks like. We think we might next year, if we get a chance, go pay the exorbitant price and see what's going on, because like I said, it was fun.
They also used to right during October before Halloween, they turn it into, I forgot what they called it, but they turn it into a creepy town or whatever, and they'd have like haunted house stuff, but it was a whole town, the whole Old Tucson Studios. And they quit doing that, but I think this last year they opened it up again. I don't know.
Well, that Old Tucson Studios had some history behind it because they filmed a couple of John Wayne westerns there. And,
McClintock. I was watching McClintock the other day.
Yeah.
And I spotted a few things. And I was like, oh yeah, that was filmed here.
And also it was Rio Bravo, I think, or something like that. And they were telling us about, they have a stream that they built in front of one of the sets. And if you see them in the movie, you see them look like they're up to their waist or farther in water. What they were doing, had to get on their knees to do the fight because it was very shallow.
Mm-hmm.
It movie magic. It was neat. I loved it.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I got a bail.
All right, Jim.
Take care, Jim.
Good weekend.
Take care, guys.
All right. Hey, Keith.
Yeah.
Or not Keith. Anybody on here? My Jeep is lukewarm heat. Got any ideas on why that could be?
Clogged heater core?
I'm not sure.
There's two popular answers.
Could be a blend door.
Could be a messed up blend door.
That's what it feels like, because I'm getting cold air and a little bit of warm air.
You might want to check too. I know some of the Japanese cars, the Hondas, have it where when you go to heat or cold, it's got a valve right outside it along the firewall, and it opens and lets the
coolant go through.
Go through.
American cars called out a heated control valve.
Yeah,
heater control
Heck, Dodge has had it.
Most likely, your Jeep has a blend door. It's always got the heat's always there. The heat's always running through the heater core.
Right.
And the blend door, the seal for the blend door or the actuator could be messed up.
Well, how was the AC? Did you have the AC on?
Yeah, the AC blows cold.
You see, a lot of times when you switch between modes, sometimes you'll hear like the door will go fuck. You'll hear it like loosen, and pop open or closed. That's the key, that you got a sticky door. Some of them are really hard. Some of the Fords are like miserable to change.
Or maybe one of those, the person before you was one of those duct collectors, and a duct fell down the vent, and it's keeping the vent from closing all the way. But it stays open for the AC part, but not for the heat part.
Yeah, that'd probably be my luck.
Well, the other thing was, there's a Florida Jeep. Heat probably was barely ever used.
Probably was never used.
Whatever is flipping around was never flipped around.
That could be.
Like saying the blend door and who knows what else.
But sometimes just working the control to command it to different settings will make it pop.
Yeah.
Not always. I mean, with Fords, they use these plastic gears. The worst was on the Ford vans. I had to change a couple. Man, they're so far up in the dash. If you could go from the top, it'd be great, but you can't. You got to go from the bottom. So you need like every 1/4-inch extension and swivel in the world, and you can barely see where you're going. But that fixed it every time.
Yeah, so, I think the trucks like that we have, Lewis, 02 to whatever those years, one of the blend doors, you have to take the whole dash apart.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
They built the truck around it.
Yeah, it's you can't. I think there's the blend door is like here, and then there's like a vent or something here, so you can't even get to it. And I've seen people where they're like, screw it, go from underneath, and they cut a piece of the vent out, take the blend door, put the new blend door, and just tape the vent back up.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
it's like a lot easier than taking a dash.
I worked for this place, and they one of the things was putting a heater core in the Rabbit, in the older Rabbits. You got to pull the whole dash apart. And the dealership paid like, I don't know, 10 hours or something, 12 hours, and you do it. And, I can do it, and on a good day, 5.5 hours. But around that time, and so I went to this place to work, and he's like, can you do a heater core in a Rabbit? And I said, yeah. He goes, well, how long does it take you? I said, I don't know, 5-6 hours. Then he's like, he goes, well, today I want you to work with my uncle because he can do them in 45 minutes. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I goes, just watch him because I have another one coming in and you're going to do that one tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. So I go out there and watch, and he goes, now this only works for the Rabbits that have a console. If it doesn't have a console, you got to do it the other way. And I'm like, the other way, okay. So
the correct way.
Right. So we pull the console out, he slides it back, he gets his air saw, cuts a big hole in the heater in the box, in the AC box, reaches in, and it's just like, pulling the Wicked Witch pulling the heart out. You know what I'm saying? Just reaches in and pulls his heater core out, and tosses it aside and sticks the new one in and takes the AC tape and dum-dums it all back together, slides the thing back on. And I'm like, well, that was awesome. So went up front, and the guy's like, so did you see my uncle do it? I said, yeah, I'm doing it the right way. So don't worry about it. Just put me in for 5 hours. You know what I'm saying?
What was the difference if it didn't have a console? Was it
because
the console helmet
the box was seen, but the console covered the box.
Covered it. Yeah, covered the.
Otherwise, you see a big cut out in the.
I can tell you back like any 60s, 70s GMs, what they did is, the cars without AC, you had the heater box on the firewall where the blow motor was, and you could get to like 8 out of the 10, or what is it, 10 out of the 12 bolts. Some of them were on studs, but like there were 2 of them that were behind where the fender was, and you couldn't get them without taking the fender off the car. Mm-hmm. So one of my friends came up with a way, like he knew what to do it. He drilled 1 or 2 holes in the inner fender well, and that gave him access with an extension right to it. I'm like, brilliant, man, fucking excellent. Saves you all that time of taking the fender off.
Yeah.
I knew a guy that worked at a Chevrolet dealership, and when the Citations had a cam recall, that had that 2.2 or that 2 side of the motor, it was front wheel, the front wheel drive.
It was a 2.6.
2.6, whatever, and they were putting camshafts in.
Yeah.
He was the fastest guy in the shop, and of course, he wasn't in like general public's eyesight, but he would drill a hole in the inner fender because you had to pull the motor. You're supposed to pull the motor,
cam out, yeah,
and he'd slide the cam out. Take the fender off, drill a hole, and back in the day, if anybody that AC tape. The AC tape that they used to use back in the day, it was like really thick, gummy, like a tar-based tape, that they would wrap. That put a lot of cars back together. That was equivalent to zip ties and duct tape today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
It's always the workarounds. One of my brothers was in a Porsche dealership. That was the same thing. He was a big guy, so he couldn't get into some of these tight spaces. But his buddy Lenny was a really thin Russian and with smaller hands, and they used to swap ROs. And the service manager was cool with it. So they would each get their efficiency ratings up because they do the recalls that they could do, and bang them out real fast because each had an ability for a certain thing. And it's all about no secrets.
Yeah, they used to love throwing the big guy in the 356.
Yeah, right.
I'm driving and I'm driving and I look like a trained bear. I got one elbow out one window and the elbow out the other, and I'm driving this 356. And I was like, those Germans had some small ass cars, dude.
I've seen a lot of Germans. They ain't that small. So how in the hell did they fit in some of these cars?
I don't know. Hey, I'll be honest, man. Once I was in it, I was good. It was just I didn't look really cool getting in and out.
Yeah.
So, but
A friend of mine had a Maverick. Maverick for a while had the V8 in it, 302.
Ooh, nice.
And he couldn't change the spark plugs, I think, on the passenger side, the back.
Yep.
So he got a hole saw. Nice hole. Reach in, do that.
Yep.
Tape the thing back up.
Yeah,
hey,
I worked on a Maverick, and that rear spark plug was a pain in the ass. Yeah. And I was in high school, and there's a lady from the church, and I don't know if I've said it on here before, but my dad was a preacher, and I'm just fighting. I went and got my dad, and I said, "Can you help me with this? I can't figure this out." And we're messing with it, and he gets it out, and he turns around and he goes, "All right, do what you got to do and slap this fucker together and let's get it out of here." And I looked at him, and he goes, "I meant this sucker. Just get it out of here. That's all I care. Just get it out of here."
Dominus Abisco.
And then
took him to his limits right there.
It took him back to his old days from when he was in the Navy.
Yep.
But it was years later. A buddy of mine, he was big into Mavericks. He had a whole bunch of them, and he was like, "Hey, you take a hole saw and you cut the fender out on the inside, and you get right to it. It's no problem at all." And I'm like, "I wished I knew you back then, man." Although it was comical hearing my dad cuss, and he never cussed.
My
Yeah, it's
grandfather
scary.
said you should only cuss in emergencies. Don't
Yeah.
cuss normally because you're wasting it. Cuss when things are really bad.
Yeah. Well, it was definitely one of those moments. It definitely made my eyes pop out of my head. Did I hear what I thought I heard?
That's funny.
Don't tell your mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, those damn Mavericks now with the V8s in them are becoming collector's items, and I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the they had the grabber version.
Yep.
Grabber, the Mighty
Right.
Maverick.
Yeah, yeah, Brian. I got a couple. I've been saving articles again for you. I got a good one for you here. It's about the Boss Cougars.
Oh yeah,
You know, the Eliminator. This is a good
Eliminator.
article. I got another good article in here that's coming you. I gotta get enough, and I'll throw them in an envelope. There was another one in here about the 302s. What the hell were they in though? Let me see. It was all about how they hot rodded the 302. And actually, in that Cougar article, there's a lot of talk about it.
One of my friends has one of those Cougars. Pretty nice.
The nice cars. I like Cougars.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is GTO.
And actually, this had to be it had to be 16, 17 years ago. He had bought a van to get the LS out of it. And this is the first I've heard of that. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm putting the van motor in there." I was like, "Oh yeah."
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I was still hauling cars. So this had to be like 16, 17 years ago.
So
you put the LS in the Cougar?
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
Oh, it's terrible.
Good choice.
Disown you all.
Hey, this time it wasn't me saying it.
Yeah.
Hey, if they run, they run.
Yeah.
Well, back in 15 years ago, there wasn't really any other easy swap to do. I mean, what kind of you could have done some Ford, but they didn't have crate motors probably back then like that.
Yeah.
Technology came pretty far, man. Pretty quick.
Yeah. Now people are souping up the straight sixes. What is it? The Atlas motor?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's in like those Trailblazers.
Yeah, we got a guy on here that's doing them.
Yeah, that's that guy that Tyler was talking about.
Yep.
His YouTube channel is, I think it's Novlock 57 or something like that. I have him on one of my lists. I'll watch his stuff from time to time. In fact, they just put that inline six in a Camaro, one of the newer Camaros.
They're getting some power out of them.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, the guy Jeremy from Faster Problems tuned one. And it's funny because I saw it when I was at Sick Week. I'm like, oh, that's a nice. It looked like a Trailblazer SS. It wasn't. The guy put the wheels on it, lowered it. It was just a regular Trailblazer, whatever. But it had that motor. I'm like, what is this? I was like, oh. And then I found out Jeremy was the one that tuned it, and that guy is. I don't know if it's the same guy. Does he have a silver Trailblazer?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So it's probably the same
one
guy.
they're working on right now is a silver one.
Yeah, probably the same guy.
Yeah, they're getting
that
power
was
out
a
of
nice
them.
truck. Yeah, 500-600 horsepower or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
And those motors are all over the place.
Yeah,
I think they're almost pulling 1,000 out of the Camaro.
that's pretty good. And it sounds just like a 2JZ. Sounds like a Supra.
Mm-hmm.
Cause that's what I thought at first. I go, oh, you put a super motor in there. I'm like, wait a minute. That's not a Toyota engine.
Yeah, it's Navlock 57.
Yeah, we ran into him at SEMA, him and his dad.
Yeah, 800 horsepower. It's white. It's actually white.
Yeah.
Let me
is.
Here.
That's a different one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind doing a Trailblazer. Terry's is really nice.
Yeah.
He just put a stick in it, so
Mhm.
he's just breaking it in, man. That truck's gonna run pretty good.
Yeah, that's a weird comment because I haven't heard of people doing a stick in those things.
Yeah, I
You
guess
know,
it's starting to
you can do
become
anything.
common. There's a couple people doing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that inline six, that's that motor. If I could get the let's see, Vauxhall and Opel make it. And it's Carlton, and I forget what the other name it's under, but that's the one that the Lotus they made. Now the base car is kind of funky looking, and the rear, the wheel wells. You know how the old Impalas had the in some of the 50s vehicles had the fender skirts. This has it, but it's built into the body. It's not. They don't come out. But if you get you can take that car and get the body kit for the Lotus, and then you have to cut that fender well out. But you can put all that stuff on and basically make a clone Lotus Carlton. And then, but I'd love to do that and then stick that Trailblazer inline six in, because those Lotus Carltons came with an inline six, and then they came with I think it was a 6-speed, but it was out of a Corvette, and those were the cars that basically they didn't last too long or make too many of them, and it was because the British government was basically trying to outlaw them because these stick-up gangs or these heist crews, they would steal a Lotus Carlton and they'd go and smash out a business window, steal everything, jewelry store or whatever, steal everything, and they'd take off, and the cops couldn't keep up with them. If you look online, you can find some video of this thing running from them. And then Parliament was saying, there's no need for the common man to have a vehicle that can go as fast as a Ferrari
Oh, gee.
I think it was a 360 or something like that at the time, or a 348. That's what it was. And no need for a commoner to own a vehicle as fast as a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Well, that's always been the British. They have this thing against commoners.
Yeah.
That can haul ass and show them up.
Yeah.
Only the rich are supposed to be able to take advantage of you. Yeah.
Well, guys, I'm gonna hit the sack.
All right, Lewis, we'll be hanging, waiting for future adventures.
Yeah, this week I'm gonna work on some guests. Try to get some guests on before the summer hits and they get real busy.
Yeah.
Okay,
probably just going to have to go out and grab somebody and say you're going to be on the show on Thursday.
Right. Just show up at their shop. That's my plan. I'm going to try to hit some shops.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Like, hey, we're going live.
There you go.
Yeah. So if I don't keep freezing.
Yeah, say that again.
So we're going to go ahead and sign off.
All right, good.
Everybody in the wait a minute, hold on. Let me do my thing here.
Your outro.
Yeah. Maybe. Come on, baby.
Take over the screen.
You ain't letting me. Well, anyway, thank you everybody from Facebook Live and YouTube Live for coming on Playing the Traffic and hanging out with us. Please tell all your friends that we do this every Thursday night, 9:00 Eastern time. And we will be back next week to tell lies and talk about cars. All right. Have a good night.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye-bye.